Testing 1 2. Can you guys hear me? Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Yeah, I have to play the audio a little bit, but I think it's working all right. All right. Had a false start. The chat window wasn't showing up. Let's see if this continues to behave. Let's see, let's see, let's see. Alrighty. So, got some new water samples. It's raining. So I thought, what the hell? Let's see what I can see here. Might be something cool. Might not be something cool. That's part of the adventure. Alright. Hope that music's not too loud. I try to bring it down a tad. Okay, let's get my slide ready here. Yeah, I haven't had time to do one of these in a while, so let's see if this actually works properly today. Come on, you silly thing. And look, I got a sex bot. Isn't that great? I guess like they say, you made it if you get a sex bot. I'll wait till somebody shows up, then I'll kill the sex bot. Kind of lonely in here by myself. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Come on, glass. There we go. Okay. Let's see what was in the rainwater puddles. Let's see what we got here. There's all kinds of junk in here. Lots of crystals of stuff. And it's not focused correctly, so let me fix that. Okay. So I can make this window a little bigger here. Yeah, this is as good as it gets. There's plant material here. Crystal bits, sand and such. A lot of plant material. Pieces of things. That is not a very good image. Let me fix it. So let's go to here. Much better. Okay. Nothing living so far. A lot of pieces of things. It's almost like if it were a different location, I would say this was like a diatom or something, but it's just pieces of plants and such. Fix that focus again. Okay. Oh, there we go. There's a little guy moving around. You'll find something eventually. It's like a little ciliate. Alright. Pretty small one too. This is it's about 100 power. There you go. There it is again. I'm going to change it to a dark field if I can. Let's see here. At least I'm oblique lighting so you can see them a little bit better. Hey, Native, yes. You're done with your Andromeda, eh? So I got a little ciliate here. Let me go a little closer. It hasn't moved for a bit, so I could probably zoom in on it. There it is, little guy. This is a very common one I see around here. I have a bunch of videos of this kind of guy expiring on the slide. You can actually see some older streams where they actually sit there, stop moving after a while, and then through osmosis and active transport stops working, they basically explode from water pressure. Oh, he's munching away here. Is that? Oh, let me center that better for you. The magnification on OBS is a little bit off compared to what I see, so I have to actually look at the screen more often. Come on, let's go. Where'd you go? Hey, you had your yum-yums over there. What happened? Ah, there we go. How's the mix? Is the music super loud and my voice low? That's usually what happens. I did a quick test, but it wasn't a thorough one. This is one of those guys that kind of uses a cilia like little legs sometimes, actually crawl on things, which is interesting. They don't just swim. Come on. Focus. It's hard when I zoom in. This is now 400 power, so this is a pretty small dude in a very small, very shallow depth of field. Music is loud. Okay, let me kill the music some more. Sometimes it's too low and people want to hear more than just me droning on and on about stuff. I turned it down a little bit. Let's see if that helps a little bit. Alright, go back to the other window. Alright, where'd you go? Where did you go? Yeah. There's some bacteria down there. So those little wiggly things there by the green. Let me bring it over some more. Some little wiggly bits here by this green. Do they move again? Oh, I have to move. These little wiggly bits right by this green dude. Those are bacteria wiggling under Brownian motion from heat from the lamp, moving the water molecules around them. So a lot of bacteria have their own ability to move, but sometimes they're just parked like this and they just wiggle. Just like Mr. Wiggly. A whole bunch of bacteria here. Doing the little wiggle dance. There's some more out in this open area here. See the little wigglers. Very small. Again, this is only 400 power. I have to go to 1000 power if I want to see some decent detail. Let me grab my power supply. I forgot to plug in. I just got a battery warning. That would not be good. Too good for rushing this thing together, not planning it properly. Give me 1 second. I'm going to put this down. Okay. So those are wiggles. Little guys over here again swimming around. Looking for goodies. This is just rainwater collected in a gutter outside the complex here. I should have got it when it was more rainy. I kept forgetting it was starting to dry up. But almost always find something, either in a potted plant or in some standing water. It's on the other side of this chunk of debris. See, it's kind of peeking through there a little bit. Oh, there we go. Nice little guy. And you can see structure inside of it, little spheres. Those are most likely food vacuoles. It's already had some yum-yums that it had ingested earlier. And it's digesting, basically like little micro stomachs. Alright, there we go. And what's interesting is when they, in the older videos I shot, when they do eventually succumb to some form of death, either from age or the heat of the lamp or whatever caused them to die in a few of my streams, you'll see that the cell will rupture, contents will spill out. The cilia continue to beat on the outside of the cell, and the contents spill out, and it takes a while for the vacuoles to pop. Actually, they last for quite a while. Really enjoying this clump. A lot of little critters like the debris field. It's kind of like looking for birds in a forest. They can be harder to see, but you're going to find more sometimes in a forest than you do out in a clearing, depending on the type of bird. I can put this back so I can see the chat. Move the damn window out of the way. Alright. Now that I have a little bit of chat in here, I'm going to kill the Sex Chat 69 hot girls that's in here. Goodbye. Alright. So that was one guy. That wasn't a total loss. Let me go to some lower power and search around the rest of this slide before it starts to dry up. Any more movement? Lots of colored bits, little pieces of plant debris, crystals. Here's some cool looking crystally bits from something. It's almost like glass when it's very small. And you can play with the oblique lighting here and get some cool kind of bio art. There's a cool shot there. A little bit of mixed oblique lighting and a little bit of edge of dark field. Nothing else moving. Again, lots of different weird, colorful bits of stuff. Could be man-made fragments of stuff. Sometimes you find colorful fibers in here that are just man-made fibers. Which is, you know, after looking at this for a while, you realize how forensics is so easy to catch people with unique fibers, because the damn fibers just shed everywhere. So would-be criminals should be careful. Nothing there. Nothing there. Ah, there's another one of these guys. I don't think it's the same one, but there's another one just like it. There we go. Let me turn the light up a little bit. This is very dim. Alright, where'd you go? That looks not so good now. Hold on, let me fix that. There we go. Oh, more. There we go. Okay, what is that? A couple of spheres there of something. More debris. Debris. There's a colorful piece of debris. Piece of plant material. It's got some pigment to it. Can't quite make out the color in this shot. Let me just fix this and get a little more of the color that way. This auto gain on this camera is driving me crazy. Yeah, well, exactly, yeah, dissolving. Well, I mean, it is an interesting experiment. You know, you can see how quickly isopropanol works on at least single cell organisms and nematodes and stuff like that, because a slide was drying up very quickly the other day and I didn't have time to save it. So rather than having to get munched, I felt sorry for them. So I put a quick drop of isopropanol on the slide, and as it traveled through as this wave, it just instantly it's like a stun gun. They're all just instantly dead as soon as they touch the isopropanol. So you can see why it's very useful when you clean your hands with it or clean a surface with it. Kills everything in contact. Even nematodes, which are pretty tough. I mean, there are nematodes that live in vinegar called vinegar eels. And that's a pretty damn harsh environment. Yet the isopropanol just cuts right through the cuticle. Little covering that they have. They're not as tough as like an Ascaris worm. They can actually live through digestive system and stuff like that. But that looks like it could have been something, but probably not. More bacteria jumping around here. There's a whole bunch of little guys there. Those little spheres, they call them cocci, like streptococcus. Little spheres and other smaller dots bouncing around. Tons of bacteria on the slide. I'm not seeing any more big thingies. I'm not seeing any eukaryotes, just prokaryotes. Some fun shapes though. It's fun to put like different filters on here and different light levels, and you get some kind of weird geometric shapes. It's kind of pretty there actually. Different colors. It's not really showing up on the camera that well. Let me see. This I have to tweak this camera some more. The automatic gain is driving me nuts. Big piece of plant material. Well, I'm going to try one more out of this batch just to see what else might be here. And I have another cluster of puddles that was on a different area of the parking lot. Might get a different population of things. Oh, there we go. Ooh, nice. That's a big boy. I've seen these before too. There's these little kidney-shaped ones. Let me fix the focus. For some reason that's off a bit. There we go. Very nice. Very fast too. Yeah, I found a bunch of these in the potted plant recently. It has kind of a kidney shape to it. And occasionally they will take a break and kind of graze on stuff. And I was able to get some really nice close-ups on one of the streams. Right now it's way too fast to zoom in too much. I haven't figured out what group this is yet. Some of these are really hard to get down to genus. Sometimes you can get them to family or at least maybe order or something, but Paramecium's an easy one because it's so ubiquitous and it's kind of unmistakable, just like an amoeba, the typical amoeba Proteus is, but some of these other guys are really hard to figure out. Okay, he's taking a break, so let's zoom in, see what's what. Oh, nice. Alright, this is going to need, let's see if I can do a little dark field action here. And maybe not. Maybe this will work. Let's try this light level. It's behind some stuff. Got some debris blocking my view. you can see the current there from the cilia. See, this stuff is flying by as the cilia are beating. It's like a leaf blower pushing stuff aside. Alright, that's 2. Oh wait, he's back. Come back, come back. Get close enough and you actually can see some cool stuff. A lot of structure in the cell there. Tons of contractile vacuoles in there. And you can see the 3D structure as it rotates. Oh, there's another little guy in there. Might be one of those ones I saw earlier. It's a bit smaller. This becomes the difficult video game of focusing and driving in 2 axes at once. Oh, it's right down there. No, no, no. Oh man. There we go. Not quite cooperating. So much debris here. One time I got a really nice shot of it on the edge of something. It was just hovering. No blockage, nothing behind it. It was a perfectly clear shot. You could actually watch the contractile vacuoles pumping, keeping the cell from exploding. Yeah, he's in the forest now. Go back out. Let's see a little different view. This is where it gets challenging. There it is. Behind some algae. There's some pretty cool algae there too. Let me zoom in on that. Let's see what this algae is all about. It's pretty small. This might actually be a blue-green algae, which is a type of cyanobacteria related to actual bacteria, but it's photosynthetic and colonial. But they're so small. Usually when they're this small, they're more like the cyanobacteria. But I have to get a better look at it. But pretty cool. Yeah, this looks like regular algae. I'm seeing like little clusters of chloroplasts, and probably that might be the nucleus there. It's hard to tell from this view. And what's this little thing here? It's a fun shape. Looks like a needle. There's those little guys again, swimming through the forest. Has all kinds of stuff here. I knew it was kind of gloppy when I picked it up with my little eyedropper thing. There's all this algae and some extra debris. Certain kinds of algae can actually see the chloroplast actually streaming around inside the cell. It's pretty cool. I'm not seeing any of that in this guy. They don't all seem to do that. There's that little guy going through the forest. Underwater forest. Yeah, osmosis is useful for life, but it's also a killer, which is why they have to use essentially the type of active transport using the contractile vacuole to osmoregulate the cell, keep the pressure. And you'll see them, they go from being somewhat normal, flexible, gelatinous guys to also getting kind of turgid and a little more spherical, and pretty soon pop. You can see one of my older videos when I first started putting this channel together, paramecium. I got a really nice sample of paramecium from the zoo I used to work at. And you can see them kind of passing each other and push into each other, and they actually depress and flex, and they look stiff, but when they push on each other, they're actually quite soft. But you can also see where they don't quite touch exactly, because the cilia basically keeps them from touching membranes directly, because they're all totally covered with cilia. So it's almost like they're gliding past each other, and you can't quite see why. Some little bacteria in there. Well, that's cool. Got some algae. Some little cool swimmers in there. So it was a good little sample. Anything else on the margins here? And a lot of dead plant material, some cool air bubbles that make little shapes. Little pieces of like plant roots and other bits of plant material. So yeah, even a lowly gutter or a small puddle after rain is most likely going to have something in it. Life is everywhere. There you can see the terminator. There's the edge of the cover slip. There's the edge of the water terminator as the cell is shrinking. The water volume is shrinking from evaporation. And pretty soon it'll just get smaller and smaller, and you'll just see this wave of water just smash everything together. And there you can see that little things riding down it's like a flume. Things touching the water edge are actually sliding down. So nothing cool here. It's more weird. There you go. See the water move? Look at that. There's evaporation. It's starting to squash things. You can really see it move. Another little bacteria next to it. They're kind of in a surge. They sit there, wiggle for a while, and then all of a sudden there's kind of a water surge that pushes them around. There's the end of the curve. Not seeing anything else down here. Yeah, so that wasn't too bad. Let's make another quick one from that tube. I have two tubes of crap that I collected here. Let's try another. Stir up the sample a bit. See what I can find. I guess there are little kind of benthic things on the bottom. Okay. Hey David, how's it going? Yeah, this is the round robin of streams tonight. Trying to make it entertaining. I'm sure Robert's getting sleepy. It's very late for him. If you missed the other part, David, I have these water samples I got from basically a gutter outside from all the rains. And just looking at what's wet in here. Well, you can already see the waterfront moving on that one. I think I got water on top of the slide, which is why you get that weird formation. Shouldn't do that under a cover slip. It's kind of cool though to watch it. See little segments disconnect. and reform as they touch. Come on, break. It's about to break. Do it. There you go. It's kind of fun. Let's see. Yeah, I made a mess on the cover slip. Little splotches of water everywhere. Let's see what is in the matrix here. Really cool to find an amoeba. But I'll hold my hopes up. That's kind of fun, those little circle shapes, those little air bubbles in there. Let me get a better view here. It's very dim. There you go, a little bit of dark field. That's always fun. Helps some of the stuff to pop out, especially little tiny wiggly guys will pop out in this kind of dark field. Yeah, there's one right down there. Look at that. What's this little wiggly dude doing here? There we go. Looks like another one of those little ones I had in the other slide. So I'm not gonna go in and find him because I'm gonna try and find something else. There's some interesting textures in here. More kind of bio art stuff. Run this through some AI generators and get some really weird artwork out of it. Pretty trippy. Nothing. Let's go back. I gotta go too far back. Won't be able to see some of the tiny guys. Just do a little search pattern here. More little circles. You can see that the water line kind of bouncing there as it's getting ready to move. Bouncy, bouncy. It's pretty fun because it has like an affinity for the glass. So it doesn't just make normal curves you find on a table or on a plate or a glass. It makes these funny little bits. Sometimes jagged edges and weird peninsulas like this guy right here. It's just funny stuff you find. So this is what happens. See, someone gets inside there and they'll get squashed. So that hard debris in there, those little crystals and all kinds of stuff, I've seen actual little critters get crushed in there. It's not very fun. It's kind of like the Star Wars garbage disposal scene. There's a lot of debris. It's funny because I looked at microscopes for so many years and never saw some of this kind of activity. It's just kind of weird to sit here and check it out. See the weird motion, see that stuff gliding along like it's a little flume. Whee! You just get things just so sliding along. I think, David, you're on the one stream, right? Where the one was going around a circle on that air bubble. This little ciliate is going woo woo woo, like almost like a um, like it was doing a slingshot around the sun kind of thing. It was speeding up and then slowing down and stuck on the curve. It's very funny. Oh, there it goes. Demolition Derby. There's a little guy moving along. It's so fun to watch that thing scoot. Scoot, scoot, scoot. And then it's going to break. Actually, watch it break there. And then this one's going to break. Those little stones are stuck in there. Bam! Look at that. That's very dramatic. And then you get the whole wall of junk. Like it's a glacier moving very quickly. Moving all the debris with it. They call a moraine. Glacial moraine. So that's really moving now. This slide has been heating up. That's fun. Look at all this movement here. Things are sliding, things are moving, things are piling up. Change the light a little bit here. Too funny. So that slide was okay. There were a couple little things on there, but the first one was much better. I'm going to try the other tube now. Now I'm curious to see how much better that other puddle was. Or gutter. The first one was a gutter, I think. This is the actual puddles. So, should be a little bit different potentially. Okay. A little cover slip there. Come on. Alright, let's see what's on this guy. Let's see what's on this one. Mostly looks the same, but there's a little rush right there. See all the stuff flying by as the osmotic gradient is figuring itself out. Whee! So again, I put too much water on this time, so it's going beyond the cover slip. Usually the surface tension bounds it to the cover slip, and then it's much easier to find the critters because they're bound inside the little compartment formed by the cover slip and the slide. See how the cover slip is sticking over a little bit? And then this is the overflow because I put too much water on. But you get this kind of a cool curved effect from the edge lighting. Gives it a 3D quality to the water. Not seeing any. That's just particles moving. It's not a critter. I got some dark field over here. Just a little bit further. Some proper dark field there. Let's see, what do we got? Whole lot of mess. That's kind of fun. See little particles dancing around at the bottom there? They're kind of circling. like it's stuff swimming like plankton, but it's just a gradient. Whoa. Just sped up there. That was weird. You can see when I tap. Kind of pulses a little bit. And you can see the cover slip is not super smooth. There's some little kind of rough edges on it. There's a cool kind of a light effect on the edge of the cover slip. Nothing up there. That's why I overflowed it. More little floaty bits. Nothing interesting. Yeah, the gutter wasn't more interesting. I guess the stuff stayed there longer, so I had more time to have little algae growing in it and stuff. These little puddles are pretty boring. It's a nice looking air bubble. It's downright solar system like with this kind of view. Space art. Space music for space art. Sorry, Native, yes, I missed your exit. To preoccupy with this little scope. What else is going on here? Nothing, lots of nothing. I was going to look at some other stuff in the fridge too. Might have some interesting, weird bits. It's a perfect example of stuff never totally goes to waste, because if I have something bad in the fridge, it makes a good scope candidate. So, I'm going to go take a quick look in the fridge so I can find something interesting to look at. I'll be right back. Oh, these are quick and dirty. Got some skin of garlic. This might be interesting to look at. Just the stuff that the papery stuff you pull off before you macerate or slice the garlic. Just going to do a dry mount here. Just press it flat with another. I probably have to use another slide. It's pretty heavy. I'll just use 2 slides. Give me weight to smash it up. See how that looks. You can see the cell structure of the garlic through the dry skin here. This dry mount's not super easy. Let's see if that'll work. All right, what do we got here? Oh, look at that. So I boost the light. And find a good spot to focus on. You can see the venation there in the papery bits there. Go to the edge where you can see the cell structure a little bit. Let's go a little bit closer. That's pretty cool. So you can see the orderly cell arrangements there, but you got these little rectangular bits in there that it's not the, wouldn't be the nucleus of the cell. It's in a totally different orientation and layer. Very bizarre. I've never looked at this before. It's a cool formation though. Let's make a good texture for those old days. So I used to buy those textures for Photoshop and for 3D modeling. Kai's Power Tools and a bunch of other stuff for textures for things. Like that all over the place. Have to focus a bunch because it's not totally flat. The depth of field is very shallow. It's pretty cool though. See if I could change the lighting a bit on it here. It's more of a dark field approach to it. Even though it's not totally dark, it's more contrasty. It's pretty wild. Pretty wild. Alright, so that's garlic skin, little papery bits. And I want to try something else kind of random here. This is ground cinnamon. I like putting cinnamon on different things, so I figured, hey, let's take some cinnamon. It's just the bark of the cassia tree. Most famously grown in India, but lots of other places. And again, I'm just doing a dry amount here. So I'm going to take a little cover slip, put it over some of this powder. Try not to sneeze. Look at that. Change the light levels here. One more color through here. There we go. Look at that. That's nice. So it looks like a fine powder is pretty odd, chunky bits. Definitely can see the crystals of the cinnamon flavoring bits in there. So One of my if you get cinnamon oil, I love cinnamon oil. Cinnamon's great, but it can be kind of weak sometimes unless you have a whole lot of it. And when you add it to your coffee, it's kind of powdery and weird. Doesn't mix very well. So I get this stuff. It's basically cinnamon oil. It's not cinnamon extract. That's usually flavor added to something other stuff. But this is cinnamon oil. It's basically extracted active ingredient cinnamon that gives it not only the flavor but a lot of heat. So you got to be careful. You can really get that feeling of like a hot chili pepper burning your mouth. Doesn't do any damage, but it can really hurt initially. It's called tranexamic acid, and it's really tasty stuff. So you just put a couple drops in your coffee. Oh man, it tastes great. It's like the cinnamon red hots, that flavor that also burns. It's the same stuff that makes that effect, but it tastes wonderful. And this is just the cinnamon granules, ground cinnamon. But it's funny to see all the little parts in here. It's very haphazard chunks of varying sizes and little branches and sprigs of stuff. It's weird. It's almost like dirt. But man, does it taste good. Great thing about cinnamon too is you get the sweetness without sugar. And also has a little more flavor than just sugar. And you get the heat if you add enough of it. But a little more of that color. There we go. It's a better color. Nice color. So that's ground cinnamon. This is, does it say what kind it is? You can get it, a lot of it comes from India, Korinchi cinnamon, stuff like that. But, pretty good stuff. If I go a little bit higher magnification, I'll try a little bit higher and see what I get. It's kind of opaque stuff. It's hard to get a good view of it. Very colorful stuff though. Tastes great. Alright, so that's cinnamon. I showed salt on one of the shows I did here, which was pretty cool because you get table salt, the standard sodium chloride table salt. Usually forms the little cubes, basically like little Rubik's cubes. And when the light shines behind it, I put it on my dissecting scope with the backlight as well as with the top light. And going between the two, you can actually see there's almost almost like a tiny diffraction pattern on the crystals when you change the light on them. It's pretty interesting. What else we got here? I'll grab a couple more things. I think it looks like everyone has probably gone to bed or stepped away, so let me try a couple more things. I'll be right back. Okay, this is. Make sure this is still going okay. I don't see any glitches. Like it's still going. Just putting a quick thing in here to, I actually forgot to put some on Facebook so more people would show up. I'm so into what I was doing, I forgot to put a note. So put a quick thing out here. Alright. That took care of it. Okay. Did you take off, David, or did you take a nap? I don't blame you if you did. I was kind of babbling for a while. All right, this is a total random thing. Probably won't look like anything, but had some natural cherry juice in the fridge. I just want to see what that looked like. Are there any particles in here? Any kind of other bits that might be interesting? It's getting flooded with light, so it's not really showing the color. But find the best part of it here. Here we go. There you go. There's a little bit of it there. I figured it was somewhat natural. Cherry juice has little bits in it of something. Let's see what we got here. Little fragments of fruit here. Micro fragments of juice, fruit, cherry bits, and such. Floating by. Now I might have contaminated the slide a little bit, but these look like little fragments that would be from pieces of fruit. Bits of the skin and stuff as it's chopped up and juiced. Little membranes. It's kind of cool actually, tumbling like that. Fix that light a little bit. A little bit of a pink color there from the juice. There's like a little gradient in here, so this stuff is flowing one side to the other, just little pieces tumbling along like a screensaver. Kind of wild, actually. That'll be a really boring slide with just some colored liquid, but because it is a natural juice and not heavily filtered and stuff, there's little fruit particles in it. This one's really tart too. It's really not that sweet. It's mostly straight off the cherries with a bunch of the skin in there, which gives it the color, and it's even called tart cherry. It's very, very tart. Actually, I have to cut it because it's very, very acidic. Makes a good mixer though. If you like mixed drinks, get the tart cherry juice at Whole Foods. Makes a nice mixer, and you actually get some little bit of nutrition in your alcoholic beverage. Although in general, juice is usually much sweeter than the fruit you eat. But in this case, it's really not that sweet compared to your typical juice. It's really a tart cherry juice. It's more of a natural juice. But you got the dance of the cherry particles here. This is the screensaver after dark forgot to include. So that's pretty cool. Like that. Just random. Pulling stuff out of the fridge. This one should also be interesting, and it is still alive. It's a leaf off of a celery stalk. Basically the part most people don't eat. But it's thin enough, and it is alive, so I might be able to get some interesting view of it here. I'm going to try a dry mount first, and if that doesn't work, I'm going to do a wet mount and smash it a little bit. But since it is alive, I didn't want to totally screw it up, because if I get a good view, you might be able to see some more cell activity here. Oh, there's a little cut there. It's damaged. So you can see the venation in the leaves there, just like any other leaves. As it pumps water and nutrients around the leaf to and from. You can see the individual cells there. They're kind of shiny. It's kind of a cool alien look there. Green, almost like veins popping out of the forehead of an alien creature. I'm going to try and go a little bit closer, see what we can see. So now we're getting into individual cells. Try to find a flat part. The problem is, unlike some types of algae you find in the ocean, like certain kinds of kelp type things, like this one called sea lettuce, or well, I can't think of the common name. It's called porphyra, but some of those can be extremely thin, kind of like the stuff they use for nori, seaweed wrap for sushi and stuff. Extremely thin, and there are certain species that are basically like a cell layer thick. but this is not. This is a little thicker than that. As you can tell from the cut here, you can see there's some thickness to it. So first I'm going to try getting closer to that cut. Let's see what's going on there. Going the wrong way. Kind of pushing on the slide now. It's so thick. This needs to be smashed more, basically. We go to the edge. It should be pretty thin. All thin section here. There you go. It's got these little toothy leaves, little points there. Alright, so that needs to be, probably need to use another slide to smash it because the cover slip is not heavy enough. Let's try that. Oh. In thicker stuff, you can use a process called a microtome. You can actually build your own microtome. There's some guys that make some cool videos on that on YouTube. For microsectioning thick things like a carrot, and you can make these really nice thin selections. Let's see if this does a little bit better job. And it's flatter. Okay. Let's go. There you go. It's the thin part of the tip there. I'm going to zoom in on this section if it will let me. It might be too thick. It's trying, it's trying. Be careful because I don't want to break the slide with the eyepiece. With the objective lens at least. Let's go a little bit closer. It's very thick, so it's hard to get too close with this configuration. Yeah, won't go. This is too thick. What I want to try is let's do let me move scopes. I'll put on the dissecting scope. Try a different view there. Let's see how that looks. light up. Alright, let's get a better focus on this guy. So I'll go to the tip of the leaf. I can get obviously not as close as I can on the other scope, but I wanted to get a different viewpoint here. And this also allows backlighting too. So I can do backlighting and top lighting at the same time. It's kind of a nice look. Move this guy a little bit so you can see it better. Hey, Dave. Yeah, it's a leaf. This is a leaf from a celery stalk. The part that no one ever eats off the celery. And I was trying to show the cells of the leaf on the other scope, but the nature of a compound scope where it's transmission light through the thing, it was the leaf was too thick to allow me to zoom in too close on one of the objectives, so I decided to try it on the dissecting scope and see what it looks like. Nice little venation pattern there. And I have the backlight on too, so you can see. That's no backlight. That's full backlight there. So you get the little patterns there. Not too exciting, but I wanted to just take a look at it since it was there. I was looking at cinnamon earlier. If you roll it back, you'll see ground cinnamon at different levels. I also had some natural cherry juice I took out of the fridge, thinking it was just going to be kind of boring colored water, and it created this little floating kind of screensaver pattern of little bits of micro cherry fruit bits floating around randomly with a kind of a pink liquid. It's kind of fun, actually. It's like a little relaxing screensaver, because it is a pretty natural juice. It's not very sweet compared to other ones. It's extremely tart, and it's much cloudier than most cherry juices, so it has a lot of particulates in it. So you can see that. I'm going to grab a couple more things out of the fridge real quick. I'll be right back. And we'll see a couple more fun things. Hold on. All right, let's see. Real quick, I'm going to go back to the other scope. And look at a couple more spice things. Let's just grab some random crap here. One is a repeat. You saw the salt before, but I think it was kind of cool to look at the little The little itty bitty cubes formed in this type of salt formation. Sodium chloride cubes. Alright, where are we? There we go. Salt crystals. Where did I put? There we go. Look at that. Salt crystals. I love this stuff. And because the light shines through them at different angles, you get almost a diffraction pattern out of them. Look like little stone blocks. Or ice cubes in this case. Get a little better lighting on it. That's a cool shot. And some of them fuse together to form these little stacked cubes. Some are just these perfect little cubes. When you study crystals and chemistry and stuff, some things form crystals and cubes. Some form this little pyramid shape called a tetrahedron. Some of them form like various lattice structures and stuff. One of the cool ones is the they call them buckyballs. It's a carbon-60 molecule. It's just a bunch of 60 carbon atoms forming a lattice. It looks like a soccer ball with the alternating pentagons and hexagons, just like a soccer ball pattern. And they can make them in the lab. Supposedly, if you're doing like welding and cutting and stuff with a torch, some of the area where you're scoring when you're doing welding and stuff, some of the carbon steel stuff breaks off and forms little buckyballs in the area, but you have to use a microscope to see them. But so yeah, that's sodium chloride. This is not the kosher sea salt, which comes kind of crusty and chunky and stuff. This is just the iodized table salt you get in every store and restaurant in the world. But it's pretty fun. So that's salt. And this is I can do this without making a mess everywhere. This is garlic granules. You put in I put this in like hot sauce and other kinds of preparations. If you're making like guacamole, it makes a nice addition to the guacamole. If you're just mashing up raw avocados, add a little bit of salt and then a little bit of this. Instead of the garlic salt, which makes it too salty, yeah, a little bit of this stuff to it. So that's sodium chloride, and then next to it are garlic granules, which are much bigger. And you can see, because it's garlic, see the little structure there? It's actually dried chunks of garlic, so you can see the cell structure there. I'm going to zoom in a tad. So if you remember the garlic skin I pulled out earlier, if you saw that part of the stream, see how that looks familiar? And that was just the thin garlic skin on the outside of the peeled garlic, the white papery stuff. This is an actual microscopic, or not that microscopic, but pretty small garlic granule, dried garlic. And it looks identical to that garlic skin that I looked at earlier. You see the overall cell structure and like a brick wall formation, and then you see these little variant pieces throughout, which those might actually be. I have to look that up. I'm not exactly sure what that is. It's too big and too common to be like stomata, like opening for the garlic to breathe and bring in air. Usually leaves have that, and not the garlic itself, but the stem of the plant or the fleshy part of the plant. So, but it's interesting formation there. Those little structures. Yeah, there's album art. Run this through AI generators and stuff. Make some weird stuff out of it. That's garlic granules. So it's 2 seasoning things right there on a slide for nice guacamole. This I thought would be interesting because it's not ground. You'll have to be careful how you move it. This is coriander seeds. Doesn't want to open. Come on. Give me a second here. I have a stubborn. Yeah, it smells good. And as you know, coriander seeds are the seeds from cilantro, which I love. Like Mexican cooking, you gotta love cilantro. Some people hate it. It smells like a musty attic or whatever, but it really adds a lot of flavor to Mexican food. So if I can get a couple on the slide here without falling off. They're more opaque, so they may not be good candidates for the compound scope. Let's see. Damn, they are a little ball, so they're rolling. This is a challenge. Let's see how that works. See what that looks like. Let's see what that looks like. Let's go to low power because they're big. Oh yeah, it's taking up the whole screen here. So these are candidates for the other scope. I'll move them over. And they're falling off the slide. This shit makes a mess. Just put a couple on this slide. Switch cameras again. Ooh, that's cool. And that's also too close, so I gotta go way back. So there's a little stem on the coriander. So clearly this is the fruit. They call it coriander seeds because, you know, they didn't bother to strip off the little bracts that are holding the stuff together, but this is essentially the coriander fruit, and the seeds are inside of it, and it's just dried. But they call them coriander seeds anyway, so that's fine. not going to get pedantic about it. But that's coriander. Kind of fun. Let's see, grab a couple more spices just because. Sometimes they look very interesting. Yeah, it looks like a little maraca, right? Be right back, grab a couple more spices. Alright, a couple more fun bits. I'm going to start with the the dissecting scope first, because these things are kind of big, and if they look cool, I might move them to the other one. This is herbs de Provence. To the leafy little bits. It smells really good, but I forgot what's in it. It's just, so I think it's like 4 or 5 different herby things. Zoom out. And some detail here. Let's see what we got. Little dried clusters of stuff. Little dried flower bits and leaves and various other tidbits. Nice mix of smells. And then we got fennel seeds. So if you like that black licorice smell or taste, let's get this one open as well. This was not open yet. Ah, it smells great. But it is an acquired scent. Some people hate this stuff. It smells really good. There's a nice sweet smell to it. So, here's what fennel seeds look like. It's a nice big one right there. Almost like kind of squashed sunflower seeds. But they have a really nice aroma if you like this kind of thing. That really looks like a sunflower seed there, but these definitely don't. That's fennel seed. And I got some let's see, that's fennel. Make sure I get the lid on the right thing here. That is Provence. And this is just some crushed red chili flakes, which would be kind of fun because if you saw my stream on the fungi, and you had the red peppers I had, or the other bell peppers that had the fungus on them. This is the flakes from the dried one, the spicy one at least. So you got the seeds. You got the little connection part of the seeds called the aril. It generally supposedly contains most of the capsaicin. It's in the aril, not in the seeds. And then other bits of the body of the pepper, the chili, and some more seeds. The skin of the pepper there, or chili. So yeah, get a better close up of this seed here. Turn the light up so you can see it better. Oh, that was actually on max. Turn this extra light on here. See if they backlight. Eh, not so much. They're pretty dense. Very dense little seeds. Some of this part might be transparent. Yeah, they're all pretty opaque. You're gonna see the colors though. Oranges and reds and yellows and stuff. It's kind of nice. There's a guy who does, he's shown up at computer expos and some other stuff, called, what was it? Gigapixels. He does like these super high-res photo collages, like an array of high-end DSLR cameras, and then stitched on the fly to make this massive photo. Like I think it was like at the time it was big, not so big anymore, but I think it was like it was like a 500 megabyte photo, uncompressed. And then you could zoom in and zoom in and zoom in. It's like having a microscopic photo of something because the quality is so good. You can just continue to zoom in and zoom in on, like, they had a thing at the show where you could give them a little petri dish full of, like, I gave them like trail mix and some little flowers and stuff I found outside, and walked into the show floor and said, here, shoot this for me. And about a couple weeks later, I got a nice photo on my email box to download and scan at high res. Just zoom in on the app and just kind of cruise around and see this kind of detail on stuff, but from a photograph. It was pretty cool. It's called Gigapixel, I think. They had one at California Academy of Sciences for a while in the Science Center. You could see the camera array inside there. It was pretty interesting. And then I got this because I'm also a little bit hungry. So I got these really good tangerines called Cuties. I get a bunch of different brands here and there, and they're usually hit or miss. But Cutie brand is always like the really good. It's a terrible name because, you know, cuties in the media is a horrible thing with all this child nonsense going on with the bogus Pizzagate and all that stupid crap. But anyway, they make really aromatic, flavorful. They hand pick these really, really well. They're always great. But here's a inside of the rind of tangerine, or Mandarin orange in this case. Let me turn this light off. And let me turn this light off because that's too much light. And let's zoom out a bit. It's a pretty big piece, so it's going to be... This is the bitter part inside that nobody eats, even though it has a lot of goodies in there. And then the skin. And you can see the really cool pores there. It's a very bumpy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120 very bumpy. And then I'm going to put a section on here of the fruit. I'm also going to eat it. I'm doing this for a couple hours now. I'm getting hungry. Yeah, I can already. I mean, this thing smells amazing. I bought a couple different brands recently, and they're pretty crappy. So let's try to buy this one if they have it in the store. I just almost never get a bad bag from these guys. So now I'm going to put a section. Let me get a thing so I don't get any moisture on my microscope. Take this little petri dish. Take a piece of the regular fruit, and I'm also going to rip it open so you can see the insides. Man, these are good. Holy moly. I could eat 5 of these right now. So, this one I kind of bit into. You can see the individual sections there. Try a different light. That one's the wrong angle, I think. If you look, you can see the individual sections there, little compartments. And then the outside, of course, there's a whole segment. You can see the venation from the... It's so big I can't zoom out to the whole thing. Just like the leaves, you have this nice venation pattern. And you have these little connecting bits. That you also have to pull off when you eat the fruit. But you can see they're quite mealy, kind of fuzzy bits. And you zoom in on them, almost like it's a fungus, but it's just a plant material. Very woolly. So if you show this to somebody, not tell them what it is, they think, oh, that thing's covered with fungus. It's growing a horrible fungus on it. Throw it away. And then you zoom out and you go, oh, it's from a Mandarin orange. So, just like with everything else, context is very important. Wish politics worked that way, but oh well, it's another matter. What else? This might be interesting, maybe not. Let's see what the printing looks like on this battery. Duracell battery. Got this new pattern now that has this kind of line system. I don't remember seeing these lines before on the old ones. That's kind of fun. It's almost like they saved on material, but instead of making it solid shiny, it's like shiny lines. It's like they're cheaping out on their coatings. But it's disposable battery, so I guess I can't fault them for that. But it's definitely a cheat. Your eye fills in a little bit better at a glance. You go, oh, it's a copper top, but it's actually not solid anymore. It's these little lines. It's very very textured. And you can see though, look how the text is really jagged. Looks pretty good when you stare at it, but not like this. It's pretty jagged, like a terrible font in your computer. There we go. And I'm going to rotate it. And then you can see, let me rotate it this way. Forgot it's actually flipped in the microscope. It's flipped and inverted, so it's reading left to right Duracell, but it's also upside down. But you can see how blotchy that printing is. It's really not clear at all. With your eye fills and all that. Even the registered trademarks is terrible little graphic. That's really funny. Let's see what the ends look like. Are they smooth? Where's my battery? There we go. And you can see the seal there. All that shit comes out when you leave your batteries in your stuff too long. It's just a little mild seal. It's not really well sealed at all. That's the positive end. Let's look at the negative end. Yeah. Just a little plastic seal there. You can see where they kind of melted it together or glued it together. So yeah, the new Duracell battery, they look different. Let's check out the Energizer. See if their printing's any better. Hey, that's nice, see? Energizer has nice printing on their batteries. They're not cheap like Duracell. Those are much cleaner fonts. Not perfect, but a hell of a lot cleaner. Those colors. Even the R looks better a little bit. And then they also have the fancy outline, kind of inverse drop shadow effect on their stuff, so they look cooler. Let's see what this end looks like. See, even that little text right there looks pretty good. Indonesia. Interesting. Yeah. Better printing on the Energizer batteries. Very interesting. Alright, well, I think that will do it. It's been, God, several hours now. I lost track of time. But it was fun. I haven't done this for a while. And I definitely want to check those water samples. There were some good little critters in there. So that was nice. But nothing new, unfortunately. I wanted to find some new stuff. So I'm going to have to venture out again and go to the salt marsh and go to some local freshwater ponds and some other stuff and get some quality samples. I need to find some amoeba. I need to find some hydras. Hydras are really cool if you haven't seen them. And Daphnia, these little water fleas. Tardigrades are easy to find now. I just go find some dry moss in the forest and hydrate it for overnight, and I can always find tardigrades on there. So that I don't even bother looking for tardigrades in the water anymore. But yeah, good stuff. Thanks for hanging out, David. And thanks for anyone who watches the stream after the fact. And thanks for Native Yes for coming in earlier. You even got a porn bot. So I guess, like I said, you made it when you get a porn bot in your chat. So that's about it. Thanks, everybody. I'll catch you later. I said it in the chat. I might as well say it on the mic. Remember to stay curious, everybody. Keep looking at stuff and always enjoy the world around you, because lots of small things you miss out on if you don't pay attention. Catch you later.